Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Shea Show. Today we have one of the assistant coaches on the Messiah track and field team, Coach Logan, Coach Matt Logan. We just had a conversation. This is actually recorded all the way back in December of 2025. Not that I think that really matters too much. I just want to give context. And yeah, just hop on here quickly to just mention who he is. And just the conversations that we get to have was very fun. We talked about a variety of different topics. He has a very colorful, I guess, background is maybe the way to describe it. He graphic designer, obviously track coach, but also worship leader, and a bunch of different things that he talks about in his life. So I'm really excited for this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode with Coach Logan. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Shea Show. I'm here with who I know you as, Coach Logan, but real name is what, Matt Logan?
Matt Logan, yep.
Excited to have you on. Thank you for doing this
Yeah,
again.
no, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Kind of tell us, what is your official role on campus?
So my day job is senior graphic designer. So I was a graphic designer for 5 years. That was my title, and within the last year and a half, I got promoted. So we design anything that an outside audience would see. And my role specifically would be high-profile jobs. Now, I still do a random other slew of things, but feature articles in the Bridge, president's office, invitations, things like that.
Gotcha.
High-profile audience.
Yeah.
Specifically donors a lot of times.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
And then also you are, and how I know you, as the throwers coach
Correct.
for Messiah University Track and Field.
Yep. Repping it. Let's go.
I had to rep. But yeah, kind of, how did you get started with getting into Messiah and like things like that?
Yeah. So I went to grad school here. I finished in 2017. In the fall, I can't remember if it was fall 16 or 17. I was a student worker in this office.
Oh, wow.
So grad students are able to be student workers. I had just gotten married, or right before. I think I was married. Yeah, I was married because we were living in New York then. So I needed to make money. And I had this background. We can get into the background too. That's a whole other story. But so I had this job. I only worked it for 6 months. It was temporary. They weren't able to extend it because I guess there was a student that was studying abroad. And I was like, well, I'll take it. I'll take 4 months of work. And it was work that I loved doing. So I left that, graduated grad school, started working at church as a worship leader. So yeah, this could go on forever. I was there for about 3 years, and I decided I kind of wanted to get out of working on staff at a church. And I saw there was an opening, and I was like, well, I'm not like technically qualified, but I know everyone in the department. I have a good portfolio, I thought. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot better now, certainly. But I mean, knowing them was the reason I got the job. I don't have a degree in design. I don't have...
What were your undergrad and master's in?
So undergrad was sports management.
Okay. Master's
was in higher education, concentration on college athletics.
What did you think you were going to go into?
I wanted to be an athletic administrator, like an AD, associate AD, something like that. Okay. I thought maybe coaching, but coaching really wasn't on my radar that much.
Really?
That early on, yeah. I had thought maybe it was a way to get in somewhere and build a resume, get experience in the department, but I had initially wanted to be an AD.
Gotcha.
Which is crazy now. I wouldn't even want to think about it. Yeah.
You would not want to do an AD now?
Yeah. I just love coaching. Like, I love being with student athletes in the dirt. Just there at practice every day rather than just sitting in an office and staying up late all the time, going to basketball games, and that would be fun. But having a family certainly changes
a little
that
more
algorithm,
fun.
Right? Yeah.
Your daughter's how old now? 3, 4?
She's 3. She'll be 4 in the beginning of January.
Wow,
so just a couple weeks. Yeah, man.
That probably feels like yesterday for you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how life changes. I mean, it's only been 4 years, but my life looks completely different. I was coaching football when she was born. So I coached high school football for 6 years.
Okay.
Over at Cedar Cliff, which is up in Camp Hill.
Okay.
Not too far away. And I did 2 or 3. Well, I did more than that. It was probably 3 or 4 years of track and football. And the longer went, I was coaching. Track started to creep up with our start time, and in September. So like when I was coaching at Gettysburg before I coached here for track, and I was doing both. And we started in October, November. So I had a couple weeks of overlap where I was doing both.
Yeah.
Like multiple, going to both in a day, back and forth, things like that. And I could manage that without a kid. Like Katie and I were happy. I was getting home late, but we had a good setup.
Yeah.
And then we had Sydney. And I did that for a year, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I had felt God calling me in a different direction, specifically investing in track and not necessarily both.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, it wasn't an easy decision, but
Were you specifically just head coach, offensive coach?
offensive line.
Okay.
Well, I coached H-backs and tight end. You know what an H-back is?
Halfback.
Kind of like a fullback. It's
Okay.
a blend of, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did H-backs and tight ends for a couple of years, and then I was an assistant offensive line coach, and I was head offensive line coach. Yeah. So
Dang, you guys had a lot of coaches for high school.
we have so many. We'd show up to a game on Friday night, and we'd play against teams that have like 8, 9 coaches, which is probably average. And we had at least 14, 15.
Oh, my word.
And it ranged from like when I first started, I wasn't officially a paid coach. I had a stipend from the booster club, which is how a lot of high schools do that, where like you give them something, but you're essentially a volunteer. And I think I got like $1,000, $2,000 for the year. Yeah, it was definitely appreciated. But by the end of it, I was an official school district employee.
That's crazy.
And I still wasn't making much, but there were certain things that came with that. So
yeah. So like, what other things in your, I guess, upbringing shaped who you are today?
So my dad's a pastor.
Okay.
I don't know if we've talked about that.
I know we've rarely talked about I think other stuff than just sports and graphic design.
Yeah. So he was in a church until I was in 4th grade. He actually had 2 churches as his last assignment. The churches were 4 miles apart, same denomination. No, yeah, it was an interesting setup. We were in the middle of nowhere. Like had to literally go over a mountain to get to a gas station. Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, everywhere's middle of nowhere.
That's fair. It's Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and it's all.
Where else?
Yep. Yeah. So he had wanted to work in a healthcare setting, actually.
Really?
So when we were living, it was in Pittman, Pennsylvania, north of here.
Okay.
You'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
He was driving an hour plus up to Danville to a hospital to get training. So he was doing overnight shifts and things like that. So eventually all this leads to he took a position as a chaplain at a retirement community. This was when I was in 4th grade. We moved to where my parents are now. So he's been there since then. He was at one point for a long time the director of pastoral care for multiple facilities, and since now has been downsized and he's just a part-time chaplain now. He's close to retirement. Anyway, so that move to Myerstown was big for our family because my dad wasn't in the church anymore. So I have this interesting spot of like, yeah, my dad's a pastor. He absolutely preaches sermons every Sunday. It's just not in a sanctuary. He'll preach 4 sermons at different locations within the retirement community.
Okay, I see.
So being a pastor's kid is interesting.
I was gonna say, how was that growing up? Like,
it wasn't terrible. Now there's definitely a stigma, not inherently bad, but I lived in a small town, so I think that helped. Like I would say probably everyone in my high school knew my dad was a pastor. I graduated with like 200 people. Okay. So not tiny, but certainly not
public, private?
Public.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. But that also meant I was involved in the church very early. Like I played piano and guitar, so I was playing piano when I started when I was 5 years old. I probably played for the first time when I was still in elementary school. Gotcha. And that led into helping lead worship when I was in high school. Playing it was mostly hymns, just because of our church setting. But that was an opportunity for me to connect with music and connect my faith. Yeah.
What denomination are you guys?
Evangelical Congregational. Okay. Yeah, we go to the BIC church here, right off campus now.
Okay.
That's how we.
Trying to. Oh, brother in Christ.
Yeah. You can edit that. No, just kidding. So my mom. We can talk about my mom now. My mom's a musician, so that's kind of where that started.
But so you got a big musical background.
Yeah. My mom is a talented singer, plays piano. I have a twin brother, and he is a music teacher.
I think I have heard about this. Yeah, your twin.
So we're very different in a lot of ways, but we're also alike in that we love music. So
he just doesn't like sports.
He does, but not nearly to the level that
not
I
nearly
do.
to the
the
great Green Bay Packers fan.
Go Pack, go!
Go Pack, go!
So my mom's also a graphic designer.
Oh, okay.
So that's part of the reason I got away with not having a degree in design is that I did it like starting in middle school, I started really being interested in it and started doing things. So she taught me a lot. Not that she was physically sitting down and teaching me, but it was more just like learning by exposure.
Yeah.
And seeing how things work. And so she was freelance and she worked at home, which helped with that. Like I was around it. She was working on the computer. We always had 2 computers at home because she had a ton of work going on.
Yeah.
So I could be sitting next to her looking at her screen when she was doing layouts and things like that. She was getting press proofs printed and sent to our house and all kinds of stuff like that. So it was a really good exposure to that life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So then what resulted in, I ended up in this, it was an elective class in high school. We called it tech exploration, but it was basically a high level graphic design class. We did web design, we did print design, we did layout, like all these things. And at that point I was like, I'm going to school for design. Like this is what I love to do. This is what I want to do. And at some point, it must have been my junior or senior year of high school, I was like, no, I think I want to do something a little more computer IT tech related. Looking back, I don't know what I was thinking. So the major was management information systems.
Okay.
Which is kind of like a mix of business and IT.
Okay.
Which would have been a very good field to get into, I think.
Yeah.
If I wanted to make a ton of money.
That.
So I went to SHIP for a semester. And I transferred after 1 semester. I was like, this is not for me. I'd worked at a summer camp, a church camp. And it was that summer after I graduated high school, I started there. Then I went to SHIP, and I was like in this super intense Christian environment. And then I left that to go to Shippensburg University, which is like, couldn't get more opposite. And I was like, I can't live like this. Like I had kids smoking pot down the hall, like everything that you would hear from a typical public institution experience. And I just didn't want it. So I transferred to Geneva. I had a lot of friends out there. So.
Yeah. How was your collegiate experience? Because you also, I guess now going into the athletic side, how was... Because did you do track in college?
Yeah, not until I transferred into that that spring semester. So, yeah, I was able to do it all 4 years.
And you were a thrower as well, I assume.
Shot and disc.
Shot and disc.
We didn't have hammer.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
It wasn't a conference event out in our way. Yeah, for whatever reason, that direction it wasn't quite as popular. So,
I guess the question I wanted to ask earlier was, how have you seen graphic design change in terms of, I guess, technology and other... Because I don't think the principles are pretty much the same, I assume.
Yeah, I would say the principles are the same, yeah.
But how has, like, technology evolved in your time watching your mom do it to now you having, obviously, all the modern tools as well?
Yeah. I think the tools would be the most thing that's changed. Now, and I don't know specifics of it, but there's certain, like, tools and... I can't think of the word, dude. Like in your toolbar in Photoshop, there's certain tools and functions are named after like the analog way of doing things. So like like you're saying, all those principles and all that like base knowledge that would have been pre-Adobe, pre-computers, that's all like ingrained in Adobe, whether you know it or not. Now, I don't even understand half of that stuff. But I work with people that have been in that setting, and I've talked to my mom about it. So yeah, the technology is what has changed the most, like just the capabilities of what you can do on a screen. AI. I mean, it has made a huge impact on design. I'm sure you've heard of this. Like, is artists going to continue to do the work, or is AI going to take art from it? Like things like that.
Yeah, I have definitely seen like the beginning of, I think literally every single class, the question has come up of, what's your opinions on AI?
Yeah.
And for me, like with the first half of my major, Christian Min, it's like, yeah, obviously it's not going to do anything.
Right, yeah.
AI is used a lot, at least when I did my internship, but that's for not sermons and preaching stuff. It's just like, it was like, hey, give me an itinerary for like the announcements and everything. It's just like, all right, cool. Now we have it.
Yeah.
It's just like...
trying to save time on
it's nothing
small
like
tasks.
Huge.
Yeah.
But for graphic design, I remember just kept saying like, yeah, it's just overrated. Because it's like, realistically... it's really easy to tell, like AI stuff.
I agree.
Especially if you're like being in the field, it's really kind of easy to be like, all right, yeah, that's just an AI image, and like it can't. I forget what one of my professors said, but it's like it can't create; it can only generate.
Yeah.
So
it generates from the knowledge it has from other.
Exactly. So it's not like it's anything brand new.
Right.
It's just a like generation of something that like is there already.
Exactly. And that's where the concern comes in of like people have this artwork all over the web, obviously, and it's AI.
Yeah.
Stealing their work. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also like people have already been stealing work
It's a great point. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, you're already like going to people's work all the time anyway, so it's not like it's hugely different.
Interesting perspective.
I hadn't thought about that till now.
I'm gonna remember that.
So, yeah. How has your faith been incorporated in graphic design specifically?
So, and this is something I've been fleshing out a lot recently in the last like year or two, and it has to do with art and creating art to serve our faith and serve the gospel. Like, how am I using this talent that I have other than making things for Messiah University that hopefully increases enrollment, increases donations, right? Like there's like the physical, tangible part of that, but there's also the spiritual. How can I create and let the Spirit flow through me to create this stuff? Like I can draw a couple boxes on a page and say that looks good, but what's the purpose behind it? What's the art and the art of creating, I guess. I haven't fully fleshed it out, truthfully.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard concept, I think.
Yeah.
How has, I guess, I never asked you this, like what, always grew up Christian kind of thing?
Yep. I don't remember the first time I committed my life to Christ.
Yeah.
I could probably count on 5 hands how many times I've recommitted my life. You're at summer camp. Yeah. It's always been a part of my life and my family.
Yeah. Is there a moment where you were like, yeah, I want to take this, like where you kind of realized like, oh, this is like a real thing?
That summer camp I worked at. So the summer after I graduated high school, my faith was in a decent place for a high school kid, right? Yeah. Like my faith ebbed and flowed depending on where I was. Like if it was football season and I had a ton of football stuff to do, like that was my priority. Track was my priority. Yeah. But going to camp really completely flipped that around. Like I had gone to camp thinking, oh, this will be a fun experience. I'll meet some new friends. I'll serve in a way that I hadn't before. Not realizing the spiritual commitment that I would make because of that.
Working at it, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I worked there for 5 summers.
Okay.
From the summer before I started college to the summer after I graduated college. So it was that whole, I guess it's 5 summers for the time. So I ended up meeting Katie there. That's how Katie and I met.
Oh, okay.
Katie's parents met there.
Oh, wow.
Katie's brother met his wife. Like it's this whole family thing. And I had gone there as a camper since I was in 2nd grade too.
Oh,
so
wow.
I had a long connection to this camp, and that was probably part of what drew me. I enjoyed going there, and
gotcha.
This could be fun, but not knowing what God had in store.
Yeah. I guess now I'm curious on the worship aspect.
Yeah.
So I guess like, how did you get that position, and what was like the moments that led you there, or the moments that led you to be like, nah, ain't for me anymore?
Yeah. So this is an interesting story. I go back to high school a little bit. I didn't like singing when I was a kid. Personally, I just didn't enjoy it. And I didn't fully understand like the theology of worship, of like what singing and worshiping to God looks like. My brother was also a huge musician. He sung a lot. He's a very talented singer. So I think there was part of me that was like, that's his thing. This is my thing. I'll play piano and I'll play in church, but I just didn't like singing. Anyway, I go to camp. My faith has done. Camp has done a lot of things for my faith. And the summer staff every week had to sing a concert for all the kids that were in camp. It's kind of like a worship thing. Yeah. But you're singing fun worship songs. Yeah. So I played piano for that. Because that's what I wanted to do. But I had to, like, it was basically required, like, you are singing because this is what at that point I understood, but like, this is what we're supposed to do as Christians, right? We worship and we give this to God. And it was very challenging for me. Like, I went through a lot of emotional times because that's the first time I had experienced the Holy Spirit through music and experienced God working through music. And now, like, I can't even describe what God does to me when I sing and play and listen to music. Like, the Spirit does unexplainable things to me in worship. So it was this process of starting to really let go of that. I don't know what tension it was or just starting to understand it more. So that led through summer camp, a couple summers. I played in church when I was in college, on and off, depending on where I was. And then Katie and I got married. We got married before she graduated college. We could go down that path. But so I'm trying to think, after college, I got a job in Allentown. I was living up there with my aunt and uncle. I was going to the church, playing a little bit there. And then Katie and I got married. And I wanted to get more involved in church music, just wherever we were, basically. Yeah. I wanted to be playing.
You still play now?
Yep. So we moved to York for her job after college.
Where does she work as?
She's at Johnson Controls. They do mainly HVAC work. She's an engineer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a strategy engineering manager. She pays all my bills.
Yeah.
That's my joke. So we found a church down there. It is in Red Line, which is a little south of York. And once we kind of got connected, I was like, all right, I think I'm ready to jump in. It was probably a month or so before we were like, all right, this is our church. And not long after that, they wanted to hire someone to lead worship music. And I was like, well, I think I'm qualified to do this. Now, I'm more qualified than I would have been years ago, but it ended up working out. I got the job. It also had a little bit of graphic design work in it, too. I was overseeing media and communications and website design. Nothing robust, but for a small church, it was.
I feel like, worship pastors often get the media stuff as well.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it for most of the time. There were times that it's stressful and you got a lot of people wanting a lot of different things, which is just church, right? People are passionate about certain things. And I found for whatever reason I wasn't enjoying it as much as I was prior to that or at the beginning of that. And I think it was mainly just like the stressors and what goes into worship planning. At that point, I was like, we weren't sure if we were going to stay at that church when I left. And that was a tough decision for Katie and I to make because we were very connected there. And that was like our big connection in that area. But I had also felt conflict of like, if I'm not working here, is this going to be weird for me? And it was all personal. It wasn't like anything else or even like hard feelings in anyone. It's just like, will I be able to personally do it? And it ended up working out, which I'm very thankful for. It gave me a chance to step back into more of just a serving role. Like I'm showing up to play guitar or piano or singing, but I'm not in charge. Like I'm not taking all this effort and time to plan a service and things like that. So it's basically gotten back to that serving point. So I'll play at our church here twice a month-ish. And it's a great level of commitment for now in our life with having a kid and especially during track season. Like I can't practice as much, but it allows me the opportunity to stay involved and serve.
What's the, difference between, for you, serving and working?
It's a great question. I think working, you want something in return. Service, there shouldn't be anything in return. It's like an open, what would be the opposite of invitation? Like you're giving back to God and you're being thankful, you're offering your heart to God, and work can be that, but usually there's something expected in return. Like I'm going to work today and I will get paid. I don't remember when my next pay period is, but I will get a paycheck. As a thanks for my work, right? And God can bless us in certain ways for our service, or it's undeserving regardless. But that I think is the difference to me.
How, out of curiosity, so now I guess more of when you were as a worship pastor, official role, or worship
leader, is what it was technically called.
What went into planning a service for you?
So it was a lot of collaboration with the lead pastor, knowing what was being preached on, what scripture we were using, and trying to match songs with that. And not that we stuck to that entirely, like, oh, we're preaching on this, so the song has to be matching themes. Like, it was a lot of trying to match song energy to the energy of the service. Like, if we're opening the service, most oftentimes we want a little bit more of an upbeat song. So trying to find songs that fit our congregation, but also fit the mood of what we were looking for. So, and that can be challenging, because you could have, there's millions of worship songs out there, and there's certain people in the congregation that are always like, here, sing this song. I love this song. And me personally, as a worship leader, I felt that like some of these songs don't really fit our service, or I don't really like what this song says. And so that is the challenge a lot of.
There is definitely, because I'm taking a theology of worship class right now. Okay. So there is, and that's the big paper I have to do, is designing what he says is like your perfect service kind of thing. And one of the, I'm not sure if you've met Dr. Curry before.
Oh yeah, I go to church with him.
Oh, okay. So you if you know his humor, he's just super sarcastic.
Yes, very.
And, I love him for that. And he was mentioning, or we had started talking about the fact of and the sarcasm joke of no way, collaboration with your lead pastor. Whoa, kind of thing. So that's why I was I was trying not to laugh when you first said that. But it was just purely because of the jokes that we make in class.
Yeah, I get it.
But I forget where I was going with
That's
that.
all right.
Yeah, definitely culture plays a huge role into leading and choosing worship stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think, Dr. Curry has said, like, it is sometimes, like, hard for his son Sam, who has Down syndrome, to worship if he doesn't know the songs. Because he connects in those times, and it's like familiarity, it can be, like, or not can be, it should be, like, a huge, like, component because of, like, I mean, that's part of sometimes, like we'll do in Devos, and I used to joke, like, the first 2 years, like, all right, I'm walking in, what are the 2 new songs I'm learning?
Yeah.
And, like, they were never consistent, and I was just like, yeah, okay, I don't feel, like, I always have to, like, take time, and, like, when I always see the first worship song and I hear it for the first time, I'm, like, obviously I don't know how to sing it, so it's just, like, for me, in that time, it's more just processing, all right, what is the song saying?
Yep.
What is the meaning? Like, how, and all these different things, because it's, like... It's really worship recently. It's been like super interesting to me and like important. Probably because also the classes I'm taking.
Yeah, I believe it.
But it's just seeing the impact that it has and seeing the more intentionality behind it is really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. So going back to my time leading, what I tried to do is have like a block of 20-ish songs that we would sing for like a 2-3 month period. Now it wasn't exactly that, but that was because what you're saying, you want to create familiarity with a song, because then you can start to pour out in your worship if you know what you're singing. If I'm trying to learn a song, like you're saying, I need to understand what this song is. I need to understand how to sing it. Like what's the tune? And now I'm not fully surrendering myself in my worship. My brain's working too much. Like I just need to, I'd love to be able to show up and sing. Yeah.
But part of also worship is, I think, definitely supposed to be intellectual.
Absolutely.
Which is, the hard balance between
when you sing
all
it's a
that
song
stuff.
that's challenging and maybe not your favorite style, but it could be a really great message for you.
There's one song that's like the All My Life You Have Been Faithful, and
Yeah.
I always think, like, for me, like, I can personally, like, have my intellect start to kick in and be like, yes, this time, he has been.
Yes.
But I'm also thinking, like, for other people, that's probably a harder lyric to sing because it's like, what if, like,
it could be
a family member like passed away or something like that, and it's just like,
what was that like? Were you faithful there? And
yeah, it's definitely struggles with like those hardships. How has integrating, I guess, all those different areas been for you? Like, what's been the biggest like way of overlap that you've seen within graphic design, coaching, and worship?
When I was at Gettysburg coaching, I had a difficult time. What's the right word? It was interesting trying to be where I was. Like when I was at Gettysburg, because I worked there and coached there when I started working here in design. So it was interesting. I didn't feel like I was really able to invest in whatever community I was in fully. And I had always said to Katie, I was like, if I was pretty pleased at Gettysburg, and it's a small program. I didn't have a ton of great throwers, which is fine. That's not the purpose of it. But I said, like, the only place I'd leave Gettysburg for was to coach a Messiah, because I work here and like I believe in the mission of this place, and I want to be in a faith-based institution or environment. And lo and behold, it opened up. And that was a really hard decision, because having to tell your athletes that you're leaving is not easy. But I feel like doing all of this stuff in one place and going to church here. I go to church with a decent amount of people who work at Messiah. I mean, Coach Foe goes there. So that was
it's literally just right.
Literally right here. So being able to be in this community in most of the areas of my life has been really cool. Like I'm known at church. I'm known as a track coach mainly because of Coach Fogue, and he knows everyone. He's been there forever. So being able to invest in one community and really dive in, I think has been huge for me.
To now, I guess, go into the track coach aspect.
Yeah.
How did you get started with coaching in general?
So football was my first step into coaching. It was, I can't remember if it was 2016 or 2017. So I had a connection with the head coach there. He was one of my football coaches in high school.
Oh, wow.
So I had been in contact with him a little bit. I had been in contact with another coach from my high school who he's like best friends with. So it was good to have both of them on my side. And he brought me on as an assistant coach. And then that spring, I coached track there too at the high school level. So I did that for 1 year, and then got into Gettysburg the next spring.
Gotcha.
So and it was really, at that point, it was really just like, I love football, I love track, I want to do it. It wasn't really about, I love spending time with athletes. I love the mentoring part of it, the teaching part of it. That wasn't really on my radar yet, which I'm kind of thankful for because it just gave me the ability to just get in and start learning.
Yeah.
And I was in a position, especially in football, where I had good relationships with my kids, but I wasn't in like this, I wasn't a head coach where I was overseeing these kids. Like, you know what I mean? It was like now in my role as a throws coach, I have a lot of interaction with my athletes. And like I feel like I can pour into them differently in this type of role. So
yeah, one of my questions here was like, was there a moment where you realized like coaching or mentoring in some sense, technically, like was an area of strength or a gift that God gave you?
Yeah, I think when I was at Gettysburg, now the faith environment is completely different. A very liberal institution. I think you could say that about a lot of colleges. But I feel like, and this isn't in a faith perspective, but I had some really good relationship with my athletes there. And those were the ones that were tough to leave. So I was there for 3 seasons, and there was a group of athletes that were first years when I started. So it was really fun to get to know them and coach them and mentoring them, not just in track and field and how good they are as a thrower, but that context, it was like, how can we be a better person? Like, what are some good decisions we can make in our lives? Like I can remember always saying stuff on Fridays, the night before a meet, like, make good decisions tonight. Like, what you do tonight impacts the rest of like things like that.
Yeah.
But that's a different way to pour into different kids, right? Like, that's going to hit home with them versus me just trying to spew the gospel at them. But like living out the gospel as a coach, I think is more effective. Even here, truthfully, like as a student at Messiah, you get a lot of faith speak. And that's not that we should avoid it, but I think we cater to different parts of the person.
Yeah, definitely part of like what this past year has been for me is the emphasis on living your faith rather than preaching it. One of my classes, we always like talk about how like you need to earn the respect to be heard. It's interfaith leadership, so it's just like you know, other faiths do not care about Jesus and throwing the gospel in their face. Well, most of them technically.
Sure.
Others do, but that's side tangent. But it's part of the like, and sometimes I get frustrated with the Messiah bubble because I'm like, we forget, and sometimes it's great to forget about like. We go to meets and you hear people, like cursing and doing a bunch of other things. Yeah. And you're just like, oh yeah, I forgot about like this.
I can relate to that being in a Christian school. Like it is, and then being, especially working at camp too for my summer, like it's kind of jarring. Like when you go into a professional work setting and kind of anything goes. Not to a point, but yeah. And
then, but it's also like, we forget that like real things like, sometimes I feel like we look at, non-Christian people as a statistic, and that's what frustrates me.
Yeah.
And like, that's why I'm like, all right, why do I want people to know Jesus? And it's because, like I need to intentionally care for them as a human being and like deeper levels like that, which is like obviously just hard to like live out. But then it's also hard for me to see people who don't do that.
Yeah.
And just like be preachy versus living out their faith in a good way.
Yeah. Transforming can't happen if you don't have compassion for that person, right? Like it's basically what you're saying. Like you can't just talk the talk. You need to show it out in your life and love other people. That's really what it comes down to, I think.
Yeah. It's definitely something like I had like honestly like literally at this last meet I had a conversation with Fogg and Brendan and a bunch of other people because I didn't live out my faith perfectly.
Yeah.
Like I got mad and said some things I shouldn't have said.
Yeah. Yep.
And like I was frustrated at myself big time because I was just like, this is the thing I'm like emphasizing to people. Like live out your faith.
Yeah.
Don't, like you can say all you want. Doesn't matter if you don't live it out. Like people don't care. And I was just like, well, I just did what I and so that was frustrating, but it was also a good moment to remember, like, yeah, I'm human.
Yep.
And it's also what I want to get people to realize is that, like, even as a Christian major, it's just like, I'm not better than you. Trust me.
Right.
I can see your guys' lives. I can see my life.
There's not a huge difference here. Like, obviously, I do certain things that you don't, but
like I said to the beginning of, like, everyone when we were doing our introductions, like, I'm a Christian major and digital media major. Christian meaning I just ask questions, not because I mean more Bible.
Yeah.
Like, I love saying that. Just like, Christian ministries is not, me being a better Christian and being a pastor and all these other things. It's me literally learning to ask a lot of questions. And it's honestly what I enjoy. It's like, I don't see myself currently as like a pastor, but just being able to ask questions is just, and like look at people and like having the knowledge, I think, is just really helpful for me, because I definitely have like a lot more of an intellectual side of just like, I need to process through things and think through things and understand it and fully comprehend it before like making a decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually a Christian major in college, or a minor. Yeah. I added it late. So I can kind of relate to the things you're saying. Like, again, I didn't have any plans of ministry or whatever. It was intriguing to me, and I thought like I could learn a lot taking these classes. So,
and I definitely have learned a lot, like taking classes and stuff, but there's also like, for me, there's a character aspect that goes into being in ministry. And while like personally, like, I believe I'm a good leader, which is hard for me to like admit, because obviously like things like that. But
I get it.
Like, I don't see myself being a good role model. I guess, in the sense of like, your pastors and your other things are like good role models, and sometimes even though they don't, like, my issue was always like, if I'm preaching, I know people are gonna look at me and like see the person, even though I'm talking about not me as a person.
Right.
So I was always afraid of the image that I had, and because I'm like, I don't want people to go after and role model after me and be like, oh, that guy's a good Christian, I should follow what he's doing. No,
it's not what we're looking for.
Don't look at me. Look at the man above. Like, I don't I don't want to be responsible, but also I don't want to be, because I just know like I'm not a good role model. Like, at the end of the day, like, not that I'm saying that obviously, like, I'm trying to be
sure. No, I get it.
But it's like, at the
I
end
have
of
those
the day,
same thoughts.
Yeah. Like, I'm just like, look, you know me, I'm a crazy, wacky, I'm a goofy dude. Like, I have a serious side, but I like.
I like that fun.
Yeah. It's actually, when we were talking in one of my classes yesterday, we were doing like an evaluation of each other, and one of them like said, as like, one of my strengths is like, yeah, I'm jokey and goofy, but when there's times to be serious, like, I can get stuff done, which is what I really do admire. It's like, I always just try to emphasize like, hey, this is a gift, let's have fun. Like, love it, enjoy it. Going back to coaching at Gettysburg versus coaching at Messiah, what's the other, like, how do you mentor to them differently than mentoring here at Messiah?
It's a tough question, and it kind of goes back to living your faith versus talking about it all the time. Like, my athletes knew I was a Christian. I mean, I had talked to some of them about it, because some of them had grown up in a Christian home, but really relying on the character side of things. Like this is one specific example, and this doesn't speak to the whole thing, but my kids didn't use the perfect language at that time, and I had said to them, like, I can't tell you not to, but we're not going to yell it across the entire field so people a quarter mile away can hear, because that would happen occasionally. Like, some kid would have a bad throw and net a hammer or something like that, lose their mind. Like, all right, like, this is your own personal space here, I get that, but we need to, and you could also use it in a way to, like, how are we portraying our team? Because we were big on team down there. Like, every time they break it down with a big group after warm-ups at a meet, and they still do it, they go bullets on 3, family on 6, 1, 2, 3, bullets, 4, 5, 6, family. So that's huge to Coach Hartzell. He's the head coach down there. So being able to rope that into the conversation, I think, is helpful and applicable to them, to say, you're representing yourself, but you're also representing something larger than yourself, which I think is a huge part of your faith. Like there's a citizenship aspect of your faith. You're part of something bigger than yourself. And now obviously with talking about faith, it's a lot bigger than yourself. A team is a bigger entity than yourself, but how am I committing to the body and how am I representing the body? So
how have you seen good leadership on a team?
Doing the things without being asked, or when no one sees it, and not asking for or looking for praise or thanks. Now, obviously, we like to recognize leaders, but I think a true leader is just going to do it regardless. Like, I don't have to be a captain to start warm-up. I don't know, something like that. Like, you can do little things like that and really garner some respect from your teammates and show that that's someone I can follow. Yeah. Even though they're not a captain or,
Yeah, what's been... I wrote this question as, what has been an underrated lesson that, like a lesson or story that you've seen from your time at Messiah?
I was an idiot when I was younger. It's funny you say that. I've been thinking about that for the last 2 weeks, and it's like this stereotypical thing. Like, man, I was so dumb when I was young. How could I? Like thinking about, and it's not that I did anything terrible, but it's just like the way I could handle certain situations and like grace is huge. And especially with college students, right? Like you guys have a lot going on. And there was a time in my life where I would basically be like, all right, homework doesn't matter. You're at practice regardless of what else is going on in your life. You'll get that stuff done in your own time. But I think there needs to be a balance in a student's life and in my life too. Like I've definitely made some decisions and a lot of that relates with Sydney getting a little older. Like there's got to be balance. Like this isn't the only thing going on in my life. It's certainly not the only thing going on in your lives. So like how do we balance that while trying to create a high level athlete? Like we want to perform to the best of our abilities and be excellent in track and field, but we also want to do other things in our life that are more important, truthfully.
Yeah, definitely balance is, maybe one of my art professors said it, but it's like, being a graphic designer and being studios, it's being an art major and a student athlete is like the best way to figure out and learn time management.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because studio classes take a lot of freaking time.
Yeah. Yep.
And unfortunately I have firsthand experience. I don't know if it's unfortunate, but
you're forced into it, whether you like it or not. I say that a lot to recruits who are like nursing majors or want to be an engineer. Like you obviously have to have time management, but you'll learn quick. Like I can't go hang out for 3 hours with my bros tonight. Like I gotta go get my work done. Yeah. Because I had practice from 4 to 5, 4 to 6:30, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the tough part recently, where I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. Other than just hang out with people, which is weird for me to say, because I'm like, I feel at times I'm more introverted than extroverted. Like I always call myself an ambivert.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. I actually relate to that.
Where I'm like, I'm 60-40, where I'm 60 intro, 40 extra. Yeah, that's what I would always tell myself. But it's like, I think also developing more in extra, but I think that's part of like other things.
Wanting to spend time with your friends is like the story of life, right? Yeah. Like I was in college and we always used to say, man, I wish we could just like live here and not have to worry about homework. And there'd be like pockets of time where that felt like it would happen. Like after finals are over and we had like a day or two left, we'd like, all right, let's chill. Let's do something fun. Yeah. But then you graduate and you're not with your friends anymore. And like, dang it, I wish I could live next door to my roommate. Yeah. Stuff like that.
It's definitely, which is also another like, I think part of it is me realizing like, holy crap, I'm a junior. Yeah. Like, people were like, yeah, college goes by quick. And I was like, yeah, I know.
You feel like it's
I understand
forever.
It'll go quick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. You got 3 semesters left.
I know.
After next week.
That's weird. And I think it's because it's the transition from understanding of being a sophomore to being a junior. Like, sophomore is just like, okay, I'm here. Like, the first year was first year. Yep. And now, to kind of like, we're going through the motions, we're in the midway point. But then, like, you think of juniors and you're like, oh, yeah, they don't have much time left.
Oh, yeah, they're, like, getting ready to graduate next year.
And there's no, like, it doesn't feel like there's any, like, midpoint between sophomore and junior year. Yeah. And it's just like, that's
you
weird.
blink and you're, on the downhill.
Yeah. What's been an interaction with an athlete here that you've really enjoyed?
This one's pretty timely because I just saw her on Friday night, but Leah Furster. Mm-hmm. So her first year was my first year here as well as a coach. So it was really, and this isn't exclusive to her, but she's a good example. When she started, she was like the quietest person you could imagine. Like she certainly talked, but not very outgoing, very to herself. This country girl who just liked to throw and lift, and that was kind of it. And to see where she's come now, she's teaching now, and like thinking back to when she was a first year, I can't imagine her being in front of a classroom. No offense to her, but I think we've talked about this. I think she would agree with that. But like she was at the meet on Friday, and she was loving it. She had a good time. She's seen her friends, and yeah.
How do you help an athlete who's maybe like struggling in life, or I was gonna say like athletic performances? Someone has an off day. What's the go-to not method, because there is no cookie cutter method, but what is like the first thing maybe you look at?
First thing I often say is encourage them that like every day is not going to be your best day, and that could happen at a meet too. Like, and the same thing happens in the weight room. That's specific, but like some days are just worse than others, right? So you have to chalk it up to I'm not going to be at my peak every day, and often bringing the conversation in of like, you had a lot going, like you had a huge exam yesterday, like you're mentally drained. So you being able to physically perform is kind of tough right now in your state, mentally, physically, emotionally. So taking context into that conversation, I think is really helpful to help them understand like, oh yeah, I was up really late studying last night and I didn't want to, but I kind of had to. Like being a college student, there's a lot going on. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
And it could be something as important and easy to say, like, this doesn't really matter. Like, we want to be really good, but, like, God doesn't care if you throw 2 meters or 60 meters, right? Like, if you're living your faith out as an athlete and you're being present where you are, like, that's more important than how you throw. And that's sometimes hard to hear. Like, that's not always the best way to do it. But I think that's important to acknowledge if someone's not having a great day. Like, I say this to kids all the time. I could care less. Now, obviously, there's certain situations where I want kids to PR, and I really think it's important. But there's certain situations where I say, I don't care if you PR. I don't care if you foul all your throws today. Like, depending on the context, you being here is probably more important than performing.
How do you create that kind of culture and environment that, like, right now the throwers have?
It's a lot about promoting, and this isn't really a word, but togetherness. Like, I want to do everything together because what we do together is better than what you do on your own. So if we're doing this together, so we're going to spend a lot of time together, and everything might not be perfect all the time, but I want to build bonds that last, that we're going to go through stuff, but we're going to make it out together.
Yeah. Is there ways you can build, like, that you personally can foster, like, the team togetherness outside of athletic stuff? Like, have you done that in the past, or, like...
You talk about, like, work and other parts of life? Not as much as I should. I'm pretty introverted outside of my life at Messiah.
That's fair.
Like, I don't really know my neighbors, which I don't love. Like, as I've gotten older, I think church has been good of like getting involved with the worship team, and my wife leads the college ministry, so that there's been involvement there and and things like that. But I also just like to go home and watch TV with my wife and play Switch. Like so there's a balance, and you could say the same thing about students too. There does need to be a balance. Like, I don't want to spend 5 days worth of time with athletes in a week, right? Like, they don't want to see me that much either. They get sick of me, I'm sure. But there is a balance to it that I think I could do a better job.
I guess to wrap it up, I ask everybody this question, but what's the biggest life lesson that God has taught you?
It's a great question.
Yep, it's always the last question I ask. It's always just
do people think as long as I am right now?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, good. And I mentioned it earlier in the podcast, being where you are, like, fully. So, and a lot of that has to do with my family and how things have changed. Like, so we talked about me giving up football just because of the priorities of my life. This is a very specific example, and it's interesting that we're talking about this, but I feel like it's very applicable. Katie and I are talking about homeschooling Sydney. So it's going to change our lives a lot in the next 2-3 years. I don't really know what it looks like. I was offered a job here to be full-time within the last 2 weeks, and I turned it down because of the time it would take from coaching, but more from my family. Like, God has made me a father and has made me a husband for a reason. And if I take again, this is a very specific example to work, but if I took a full-time job and I was still trying to coach, I'd be around this much at home, right? Like I need to be prioritizing relationship with my family and how we can disciple Sydney. And that's kind of where the homeschool conversation started. Like, so being where you are and being confident in where you are and knowing that, yeah, I am following God's call, even though there might be a question posed to you.
I forgot to ask this question earlier,
You're
so
good.
I will ask you
You're
one more
good.
question. How was being a pastor's kid changed the way you may parent Sydney, if that makes sense? So,
Yeah.
Like, I always talk about it to like people who are pastors, like how do you like not pressure your kid into wanting to be a pastor?
That's what I was going to say, is not pressuring her into anything.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I want her to believe in Christ and have a relationship with him. But it's also her choice, right? And that's tough as a parent to think about. So I don't want to force her on it. I don't want to. Now, obviously, I'm going to make her go to church. But I'm not going to force her to like. You have to sing in the choir. You have to. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things she needs to be comfortable with, and it's her faith walk. It's not mine. And I think that happens with pastors' kids a lot, where, oh, your dad's a pastor. You're always at church. You must love it. You must be involved. And it's kind of boring sometimes, right? No offense to pastors. You're right. Like, so, and I actually have that approach with Sydney a lot. And people ask me all the time, what sport's Sydney going to play? Are you going to make her throw? And I'm like, obviously I want her to throw, be on the track team, but like, I would also love to watch her play basketball, right? Like, I mean, there's certain sports I prefer over others, but I just want her to have fun and enjoy sports.
Just not let her play football?
Yeah. I don't know. Not soccer. That's where my strong feelings are. It'd be fine. I just don't love soccer.
Yeah. That's funny. Any like particular?
I just can't get into it. I don't know. But I also understand that it can be very tense at times, and I like that. Where like you're waiting, is this someone going to score? Is this, it's late in the game? Like things like that I like. But
yeah,
I don't know. No one in my family liked or played soccer, so I didn't have any exposure to it, which I think has something to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank you for letting me use your office as a recording studio, and just doing this conversation.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man.
But yeah, thank you so much
man.
for doing this.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Yep.